This is the instructional video for changing the belt on an RLC2000 series conveyor. Always remove power from the system before beginning any maintenance work. First, remove all the components mounted to the non-motor side of the conveyor. With only a few exceptions, all of these components will be mounted on dovetail clips or DTCs. To remove a DTC, loosen the socket cap screw with a 3/16 Allen wrench until the bracket pivots out of the side frame. If your system has a carrier roller, we recommend leaving the roller in place but removing the DTC and the stub shaft as one unit from the non-motor side. Once all the components have been removed, use a 1/4 inch Allen wrench to loosen the two 5/16 socket cap screws on the infeed end of the conveyor until the pulley is all the way loose. At this point, the belt will have plenty of slack in it. Loosen all 4 of the 3/8 hex bolts in the take-up blocks on both the motor and non-motor side with a 9/16 combination wrench. It will be necessary to remove the guide bracket closest to the take-up on the motor side as well. Do it by using a 3/8 open-ended wrench to loosen the rod and the 3/16 Allen wrench to loosen the dovetail clip and pivot it out of the side frame. Now that all 4 bolts are loose, take out these 3 bolts on both sides of the system, allowing the entire take-up assembly to pivot downward. Next, remove the non-motor side take-up screw. Then remove the 2 conveyor mounting ears from the non-motor side of the system. To do this, completely loosen the 2 1/4 20 socket cap screws from the top half of the ear and remove it. Now you can remove the 2 1/4 20 socket cap screws in the bottom half of the ear and slide it out. The conveyor may droop slightly depending on the width of the conveyor. Now that both ears have been removed, the old belt can be removed from the system. It will be necessary to have someone assist you in removing the belt. To install the new belt, slide it evenly until the V-guide in the center of the belt is seated in the correct groove in both the take-up and drive pulleys. Use care not to damage the V-guide during this process. This is hard. Once the belt is seated properly, mount the bottom halves of the conveyor mounting ears back onto the conveyor mounting plate. Then mount the top half of the ear, ensuring they are correctly in the rail. Place the take-up screw back into the take-up shaft and pivot the entire assembly back up into position and replace the 3/8 bolts. You can now tighten the 5/16 take-up screws evenly in both sides take-up blocks to retension the belt. During this process, be certain that the V-guide remains seated in the groove in the drive pulleys. The belt should have just a little droop to ensure it isn't over-tightened. Now that the belt is properly tensioned, power the system on. It is recommended running the system slowly at the start to be sure everything is aligned properly and the belt is seated in the pulleys as it should be. Once you have confirmed that everything is properly aligned and running smoothly, mount all the components previously removed from the side of the conveyor and begin operation as normal.